Hey guys, David Merrill here. Real quick, just want to talk about my bow hunting setup and what I do and just, how I do a few things. One of the biggest things I keep hearing about is target panic, right? And target panic is induced by a lot of different things and a lot of different people have struggled with it. I'm still using a caliper style release, and one of the biggest things that I've noticed is I've got a static range here out to 120 yards, and a lot of times if I don't feel comfortable with the shot, I'll let that shot cycle down. I think a lot of target panic is induced in your brain is saying, I gotta fire the bow now, and you squeeze the trigger when the pin isn't exactly where it should be. So a lot of guys switch over to a thumb style or hinge style release where you have to use back tension and you can't quote unquote punch that trigger. I have no problem with that, and it seems to work for a lot of people, and everybody in the Olympics uses one, so there must be something to it. But I sat in and listened to a couple different seminars, and it basically comes down to a lot of those guys, when they're out in the field hunting, they go to a trigger style caliper release for the single fact is you can command that shot. If I have an elk walking through a couple trees and I know that I've got to thread it and I've got to shoot him here, having a release that I don't know when the bow's going to go off is a really bad deal, because that could end up making a worse shot than even you ever intended. So one thing you can do is, when you're practicing, don't shoot 200-300 arrows on a Saturday. Just come out here and shoot, a couple rounds, 4 or 5 rounds. And on one of your rounds, just go ahead, draw back, go through your whole shot cycle, make sure your grip, your bow arm, your anchor points are all there. I like to take a big breath in and then I exhale. And I'll sit here and I'll go through this whole shot cycle. And then sometimes I'll just let down and not fire that bow. I'm now tricking my brain into, I'm gonna shoot when I want to, not when you think we need to. My pin floats in a circle just a little bit. I allow my body to relax to the point that I can visually see my pin hovering around the X-ring. In the field when I'm elk hunting, if I can pick that little hair on the side of the elk and have picked the window that I want to shoot, then when it's time to shoot, I can command that shot. A lot of guys would shoot right then. Their brain's saying, shoot, 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 1 second in. And you could take your cell phone out, film yourself, and just give yourself a count. You don't need to be holding your bow for 30, 60, 90 seconds every shot. If you can get through your shot routine pretty quick, get anchored, and get on target, you can do just fine. But again, that's one of the biggest things I've heard and read about, and people ask questions about, is target panic. And I seem to do just fine shooting lots of critters with the same TrueFire fold back. It's a middle of the road. It's a good release, but there's a lot better releases on the market. I've heard a lot of guys talking about going to a bag of hinge style releases, and there's nothing wrong with that, other than, when you've got that whitetail running right under your tree stand, you come to grunt and you need to shoot right now. Trying to go through that shot cycle with a hinge style release can be much more complicated than it needs to be. So that's BowSpider's tech tip of the week. We're gonna try and do a few more of these and answer some questions we've been asked. And this is the Z7 Mag bow I've been hunting with for quite a few years now, and I've got some others, but I keep going back to this one.